All right, enough is enough. How many times are we going to hand over $70, soon to be $100, only to get a broken mess that they promise that they will fix eventually? How many times are we going to watch these once great franchises get gutted, rebranded, relaunched, stuffed full of corporate approved nonsense that nobody asked for? I'm tired of it. You likely are too, or you should be. But every once in a while, a game comes along that reminds us of how the industry used to be, how the industry should be. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did just that. Here's a radical idea for you. A game that respects you as the player. No battle passes, no microtransactions, no live service roadmap full of eventuallys and down the lines. None of that. Crazy, right? Luckily, gamers seem to be waking up to the idea that this is no longer the norm, that a game shipped good day one is an outlier. Just take a look at this Reddit post. Compare that to the garbage we've been getting over the years. Cyberpunk 2077 launched as an absolute disaster, completely unplayable on console, pulled from the Sony stores, full of cut content, and in my experience, a world that looked alive in the first little bit while it was on rails, but as soon as it opened up and let you explore and go off on your own, you realize none of it actually even worked. It took 3 years to get the game back to the original state that they promised us. And we're supposed to somehow be grateful for that? Now, don't get me wrong. Once the game was fixed, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a lot, actually. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I don't think that they deserve extra praise for doing what they originally said they were going to do. They still charged us for DLC. It's not like they were Hello Games who more than made up for their No Man's Sky blunder with free DLC after free DLC after free DLC, because Hello Games knows something that the AAA studios have forgotten. And that is that having the good favor of gamers and having a respectable reputation is far more valuable in the long term than a cash grab. Or what about Starfield, a game that was supposed to be Bethesda's new flagship IP? A game that was supposed to make us forget about Skyrim. Instead, it turned out to be a mile-wide, inch-deep, boring universe full of recycled content, busy work mechanics. It felt ancient the day it came out. Well, guys, you have to understand that making these games is expensive. That's rich, coming from a studio that has all the money in the world. They still just released Fallout 4 with a space mod.
You should go now, as they will be expecting us.
What?
Hey, Dad.
Oh, there's like
Want to hear a
two.
poem I wrote? It's called
Asmund just lost 40 minutes of progress due to autosave only saving after the battle.
So I have to do all this again?
Okay, I'm done. Oh, that's enough.
And then we get this, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a game made by Warhorse Studio, a studio with a fraction of the resources, a studio with a fraction of the people, with a fraction of the money. And somehow that's the world that feels more alive. No excessive quest markers flooding up your HUD, no floating exclamation marks over NPCs, no spray painted orange on the map telling you, hey, dumb, climb here. Just a world moving with or without you. If you want to engage with it, that's your job. The story doesn't chase you, you go find it. It's a world rife with adventure. All you need to do is play the game the way that you want to play it. I haven't felt this sense of being sucked into a world since I played Elden Ring for the first time. KCD2 features a world that is just dripping, oozing with intrigue and adventure and excitement. A game where you can set your sights on a main quest and at the end of your play session, realize you didn't even accomplish what you set out to do at all because you got sucked into the world. You got sucked into a side quest. You explored some area that just looked cool and you aren't even mad about it because at the end of the day, you had such a fun time. In KCD2, there are multiple ways to tackle each quest, respecting you, the player, respecting your intelligence. Sure, you can go unga bunga, fist blazing, mace smashing, sword slashing your way through this game, but there are consequences. You might get your ass kicked for trying to play this way. But it's your choice. They respect you to figure it out, and they give you the tools to do so. Just play the game your way. And then there's the writing. It's laughable when you compare it to Dragon Age: The Veilguard. BioWare went from Dragon Age Origins, a game that gave you real choice, a game that respected your decisions, a game where the characters felt human and relatable, where you could see every character's motivations, their fears, and their desires, to Veilguard, a game that was so PR sanitized and written by committee, it might as well have been a workplace harassment awareness training video. You might be saying, well, real writers wrote this game. Yeah, and how did that work out for them? They're cashing those unemployment checks right now. And I'm not advocating that we should be cheering for the downfall of people in their careers. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is these writers have lost the plot. They are so out of touch with their audience, with the gamer, with their income source. They forgot who they're making games for. And it's just so exhausting and frustrating. They need to just put themselves in the shoes of the person playing their game. A dad who just worked a 10-hour-long shift to make sure that his kids can have food on the table, to make sure that his kids can have lunch at school, that they have clothes to wear. And after working all day and spending some time with family, putting their kids to bed, they just want to have a couple hours to relax and escape, fire up that new game that they just bought, hoping to just have a little relaxation, only to be force-fed some corpo nonsense saying, hey, you, the guy who worked all day, who cares about your family, yeah, you are the problem with society. You are the problem. How dare you? It's exhausting. We play games to escape from those issues. I certainly don't want them in my games, at least not like this. I'm fine if you want to explore political issues, social issues, gender issues, but please, for the love of God, do it with a modicum of nuance, with a shred of emotional intelligence. This is what happens when a studio loses its way, when it forces their message instead of creating an engaging world. These studios promise an evolution. They say that they're actually creating quad A games, but this is an evolution. This is regression. This is what happens when studios chase critic approval over good storytelling, when they care more about investors than gamers. And the worst part, they blame you for their blunders. You are the problem. You caused their failure. How dare you not buy their game? Don't you want developers to eat? What's wrong with you? I digress. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is not just a press X for good guy option, press Y for bad guy option, where in the end it doesn't even really matter what choice you made. It's not an invisible wall open world. It's not a, oops, don't try that, stay here on the rails. No. If you see it, you can go to it. If you can think of a solution, well, try it. See what happens. And if you fail, tough. Figure it out. The world moves on. And that's what makes this feel so real, so immersive. And while, yes, the mini games for forging and for alchemy aren't the highlight of the game, at least this game has an identity. At least this game knows who it is and who it's for. And it's not for everybody, but that's a good thing. When you try to be everything for everyone, you end up being nothing for no one. That's just some good life advice. You can have that one for free. Actually, you know what? I undigress. I'm not done. The gaming industry should be ashamed of themselves. If Warhorse Studios can pull this off, if Larian Studios can pull this off with Baldur's Gate 3, if Grinding Gear Games can pull this off with Path of Exile 2, if From Software can pull this off with basically everything they've ever released, then why can't these AAA studios? Why can't the industry giants? It's simple. They don't care about you, the gamer. They care about the shareholder. They don't have to care about you. They know that they can ship an unfinished game, cut content and say that it's a future update, slap an expensive DLC on it later. They can add pay-to-win microtransactions because enough people will buy it. And the idiots will say, thank you, sir, can I have some more? Because the second they put out some CGI trailer with no in-game footage, slap a nostalgic song remixed over the top of it, players will forget every lie the studio's ever told. It isn't just incompetence. It's beyond that. It's intentional. The modern games industry is built on an unsustainable model of cashing in on hype. They don't need to make a good game. They just need you to buy it before you realize it's a pile of dog. And if they don't make enough money back to cover their gross misspending, their bloated budgets, and their terrible project management, then they just go back to their greatest hits. Blame you, the player, for their failures. Because game development is hard. Okay, try saying that to the construction worker who broke their back all day. Try saying that to the nurse who worked a 12-hour shift cleaning up blood and puke. Try saying that to a teacher who worked all day with challenging children and then worse had to deal with their parents. You're not the only profession that works hard. It's not unique to game development. It's part of the human experience. Oh, the players just didn't understand the vision. These corpos think they can just around and do whatever they want with no consequences, with impunity. Someone else will pay for their mistakes. But here's the truth. We don't have to put up with it. We can be their consequence. We can hold them in check. We don't have to keep rewarding these studios that actively disrespect us, who are only interested in our wallets and not the value that they bring to justify the $70, the $100 that we give them for a game. And how do we tell these studios that they can go themselves? We do it with our wallet. We support games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, studios like Warhorse, studios that care about the product that they're giving us, that care about creating an amazing experience for the player, studios that care about making something amazing. Because if we keep settling for less, that's all we're ever going to get. All right, that's it for me. If you're tired of being treated like a wallet and not a gamer, then voice your opinion. Demand better, and demand it with your money. Leave those trash games alone. Support the games that respect you. If you like this video, drop a like, sub for more, and let me know in the comments, what was the last time you bought a game that you thought was actually worth your investment? Until next time, stay skeptical, fight the power. Peace.